Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Joel Rosen and I want to welcome you back today to another Adrenal Fix edition. Today we're going to be talking about what is the best food plan for adrenal fatigue. It's a question that I get a lot. Sorry, I have to get centered here. It's a question I get a lot because ultimately we want to know if we're eating the right foods so that we are supporting a recovery process. And I get a lot of people that ask me, is it even possible to recover from adrenal fatigue? And undeniably, I say yes, it is even possible to recover from adrenal fatigue. And the reason that is because the body is forgiving. The body is healing. The body is looking for a state of higher health. And it maintains homeostasis naturally. And when you have an adrenal fatigue problem and the adrenals are not signaling properly and they are not, they're overworked, if you will, then what happens ultimately is you want to support that recovery process. And so what happens is it's really important to know if you're eating the right foods that are supporting that recovery process. And a lot of people ask me, should I be eating smaller meals more frequently? Very, very common question. And in fact, before I did all the research that I've been doing and before I learned about my own recovery process when I was exhausted and eating small meals more frequently, I realized that that's not always the best thing to do because there's a lot of variables going on in terms of the gut's breaking down. Potentially there is not a good absorption in terms of what you're able to utilize. There's also a lot of microbial growth. There's a lot of breakdown. There's a lot of immune reactivity, so things that it comes in contact with. There's a breakdown of how juices are secreted in terms of hydrochloric acid and your digestive enzymes. And I think for the most part, a lot of you guys get that. You really do. You already realize, hey, I got to fix my gut. I have microbial overgrowth or I have leaky gut, what is that? You know, people ask me all the time, what is leaky gut? I got that asked today. And leaky gut is when the gut is not breaking down the foods optimally, and as a result of inflammation and immune reactivity, that fine metal strainer that you have, your tight cross bridges that hold the lining of the digestive tract, where the last stop between being broken down in its smallest component and getting into your bloodstream and be utilized for fuel and be processed. And when things get into the bloodstream before they're processed, then that stimulates an immune response to your immune system that's already hypersensitive. And as a result, sorry guys, just sort of get a slip there. As a result of that, then you have a whole immune system challenge. The adrenal glands are orchestrating that as well. And it goes on indefinitely and has consequences. And so we get that. Most of us get that. We get, hey, I got to fix my gut. And I got to, look at what I'm reacting to. I got to repair the lining. I got to re-inoculate it with healthy flora. I got to strengthen my immune system. And so here's the flip side, though. Why are all of you that understand that still suffering? And why are we not fixing that? What's the real problem? And so a lot of people will ask, well, I'm trying to fix my gut. Maybe it's what I'm eating. What should I be eating? How should I be eating? Or how do I do the gut stuff properly? Am I actually doing it properly? And you have to balance both sides of the equation, meaning we're not a lot of the times thinking about the quality of the food, the quality of the food. Really think about that. So our soils are depleted, even if you were eating really healthy. The soils are depleted with minerals that have been utilized, and there's not good quality minerals at abundance. They're out there, but it's not at abundance. And you have to be really diligent about it. And you have to sort of know the insider secrets, if you will, like the secret handshake of how do you actually know which ones should be the ones that you should be utilizing. So the quality of the food is really, really important. So that's not even talking about what it is, how often you're eating it, What are the breakdowns in terms of the percentages of protein, carbs, and fats? What else is going on with your gut lining? What's going on the processing part we just talked about? What's truly going on there, and how are the adrenals related? So it's really important. And in one way, the way the adrenals are related is the first line of defense that lines the epithelial lining of your digestive tract all the way into from the mouth, they say, to the anus, is epithelial cells, and that's lined with something called secretory IgA. And secretory IgA is based from a protein. Anything that's I in it is immunoglobulins, and anything that's protein based will be required to line that epithelial tract and defend and be our first signaling, sort of our first signaling guard as to there's something going on here. So there's a direct correlation between that secretory IgA and your adrenals. And so you'll see the secretory IgA break down, and then next thing you know, you start getting entire breakdown and that permeability. So you need to understand that the adrenals are involved in that way, which a lot of people may realize, but it's a good way to determine what's going on with the adrenals. And we want to figure out to exact extent what's going on with the adrenals and how can we fix that, and maybe any other things that are going on below the surface, which probably by now you know there's a lot of things going on below the surface. But that's not to say we shouldn't focus on fixing the adrenals or supporting the adrenals, or understanding how they're involved, and so we can help them be a good first line of defender so that it's badass, excuse my language, and a lot of people can't get past the gatekeeper, and it can do a good job of doing that. And that's really important. So we can do measures to help with secretory IgA, and that's all about eating healthy foods. So it starts with quality foods. You have to have really quality foods, and I always like when you guys are here and you show me you're paying attention and you like the content of the information, to give me the thumbs up. I had a couple there. Thank you very much. I love that. I even love the hearts too. So thanks for joining me. So anyways, about the quality of the foods is, thank you very much. I get it a delay. It's like a delay. So it's like they're not doing it, and then, oh, here it comes. And like I'm still waiting, and then it finally comes. So anyways, talking about the foods here, we're talking about the quality. So how do you know if it's good quality? Well, first of all, let's think about what you're eating. Are you eating leafy greens? Are you eating really good fibrous foods? Just quality stuff, things that are common sense things that sit down, good quality, prepared, whether you baked it or you boiled it or you sauteed it, whatever you did, and it's good quality foods, like good nutrients, like let's say good spinaches or good kales, leafy greens, really good of these. And you don't have to go crazy on veggies, but seriously though, how much veggies are you getting? Are you getting good quality stuff? Is it washed? I mean, if it's not, here's where we get a little neurotic about, okay, you're being a little over the top, you're trying to be so healthy and you're extra, like those things matter. Like you need to wash that stuff, even if it says triple wash. Like look at the bottom of it and see if there's a little soil caught in between, in between the crevices. And if they're, potentially it may be contaminated. It may have some bacteria growing on it, or E. coli, or H. pylori stuff, or even just things that are in there that when that's not washed properly and processed properly, and you're not breaking down because your adrenals are breaking down, your secretory IgA is going down, you're not secreting a lot of hydrochloric acid, and all of a sudden it's sitting there and it's fermenting and it's causing an immune response, and you feel reflux, and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I have too much stomach acid. Let's prescribe these protein pump inhibitors and Prilosec, and you could be a purple pill guy going in a truck in a 360-degree angle and everything's awesome. Have as much pizza slices as you want. It's not going to matter. We kind of know better than that, but think about how those commercials are marketed in that way. It's crazy in that way. We have to take accountability for our health, and that means even if it's not every day, day in, day out, make it a goal that it's one meal, one quality meal a day. Seriously, like how realistic are we doing with that? Because I know plenty of people, when we get into overwhelm and we're stressed out and life is happening and we're not feeling good, and I don't have time to prepare something, I'll just heat it up, I'll put it in a microwave, I'll whatever. How many times do we do that? And so let's talk about that. If there's quality food in that particular food, is there quality, good nutrients? To begin with, there wasn't probably even good nutrients to begin with. Why is it so inexpensive? A lot of the times I ask the question, instead of wondering why it's so expensive for good quality food, you should be wondering why it's so cheap for bad quality food. Like, you should think about that. You should think, oh my goodness, if it's that cheap, how good quality can it be? I mean, are they getting the stuff that doesn't have any let's say hormones in there? Are they putting stuff that doesn't have sprays, like chemical sprays in there? I mean, am I being weird, or am I just protecting my health? But it costs more. It does cost more, but bad health costs more too. And so you got to make the decisions, and it takes time. But take time is, you have the time you have 168 hours in your week. Sorry about this, because this is just sort of slipping down. You have 168 hours in your week, just like everyone else. And you make time for the important things. And then and of course we're tired and we don't want to do it. But why do we do it? Because we want to live a better life. We want to be healthier. We don't want to be suffering. We don't want to be exhausted and stuck to a couch. And every time someone asks us to go out, we say, sorry, okay, yeah, let's go out. I'm going to go out. Friday comes around, I'm exhausted, I have to cancel. And you're the person that flakes every time. And how often do you want to keep doing that? And just opening up a microwaved meal or not getting a good quality food every day is more important than what kind of adrenal fatigue meal plan should I have. And I know, like, we can get into the details of that because it's really important, but how much more important is this? So let's get back to a good quality meal that has a leafy green that is really nicely washed, made sure that it, as best you can, it's naturally grown, or it doesn't have to have its own massage therapist, and it's treated like a day spa, and it's got a towel wrap over it, and it's pampered, and its nails are done. It doesn't have to be like that. It just has to be something that's fresh and clean and is reasonably priced. And if it means not having an extra coffee here or there, or spending a little bit more, the difference is really important. It adds up over time. And little hinges swing big doors over a lot of time. And if you are doing little things to be healthy or little things to not be healthy, guess who wins? The one that's being done repetitively over time. And so you have to do those things, and that comes down to these good quality foods. Now let's talk about how we're preparing it. Are we heating it? It can get that elaborate, and I'm not going to go there today, but you have to think about, am I frying it? Am I creating an oil that's burning really, really at a high temperature? If it is, what happens to that oil? Does it start to burn and smoke? Are you cooking it at a lower temperature? Are you selecting something that can heat up a lot higher than another agent? Like, for example, ghee is, I want to say it's about 240 or 30 degrees centigrade or Fahrenheit in terms of how high you can cook it. And then I want to say coconut oil's next after that, and it may be even in 190, way lower. And olive oil is lower than that. And I'll be really mad at you if you're cooking with canola oil, because you shouldn't be. That's almost like 101, lesson 101. And let's go back and be neurotic and think about the oil that you're using. How good quality is that? Like, is it all good quality stuff? Like, are you chinsing on it, or are you getting the good stuff? And I'm not saying spend an arm and a leg, and I'm guessing most of you are getting the good quality stuff, but just because it's more money doesn't mean it's necessarily better. So did you This is where you got to do a little research. These are where the insider secrets are held for nerds like me, so that I can tell you where to get all this stuff and how it works. But you can spend time and figure it out yourself too, instead of figuring out, oh my God, what's the best way to eat? This is like the basics is the real stuff. This is the insider secrets. So is your oil, is it processed? Is it in sunlight? Is it in a bottle that is protected from the sunlight? Is it rancid? Where do you store it? Is it good quality stuff? Have you done your research on it? How has it been treated? Kind of takes that much background information. It's almost like you have to be an investigator and do your, what do they call it? I forget the term, but you're basically doing your prospecting. You're doing your due diligence is what you're doing. You have to do your due diligence when it comes time to protecting your health and eating good quality foods. So let's talk a little bit. That's really important. So I can go on forever on that. Boiling points, better quality foods, how is it stored, what's the quality of it, are you getting stuff that's conventional, stuff that's been sprayed, are you washing it, those are the things we need to know. You need good quality food, and good quality food tastes better. It's amazing. It's like you go somewhere and you go to a place that has good quality food, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. It's because it's good quality food. And that's, it pays to, it's like cheap is expensive. And it's like, when you buy a pair of jeans and they're really nice jeans, you want to spend a little extra, they fit a little bit better, you paid a lot more, but they're comfy and they last a lot longer than those cheap jeans that you get, or whatever it is, cheap this, cheap that. It breaks down. And buy it one time and you get more use out of it. And save the money in the long run. Cheap is expensive. It's the same with food, but only the investment is your health. Don't be worried so much about how many meals and this, that, and the other. Get good quality food. Sorry, this is really annoying. It keeps slipping down. But the other thing I would say is that if you have any suggestions on how I should do that, that'd be really, really good. But good quality food is super important, and your health and your investment in that good quality food is the consequence of that, and the negative or the positive. And so we got to have good quality food, and you'll be surprised when you start getting good quality foods, how you start feeling better. I'm going to bring up my father. My father is getting older, and his health is failing, and it's, so I've been talking to him, never was really close with him. And now, in this stage, it's nice how you can just kind of move forward and just kind of talk. So I'm trying to do some of my recommending my healthy stuff to him. And so he had a meal, and I asked him how he'd been eating, and he'd been eating well, and he'd been having some good quality foods with some microwaved foods, or what he thought was good quality foods. And I, being the snob that I am in my head, hopefully, that I'm thinking, well, it's not as good quality food as it could be. So I told him on Sunday, hey, why don't just indulge me and eat a nice, good quality leafy green as much as you want, because there wasn't really any vegetables it's like I'm an old parent now trying to get my kids to eat healthy. And so that's the thing, though. It was good quality food, and the next day he was a lot more energetic. It was like significant, but if it wasn't it, then who cares? It still resulted in, it didn't make him worse, and deep down the insider secret was it made him better. But so you have to have good quality foods. Hey, April, you can probably watch it from the beginning once we're done here too. So anyways, I did have an agenda and I don't have much time, but think about the good quality foods. And so the first thing I want to say is, when you come down to thinking about what type of foods it should be, you need to achieve, this is super annoying when it does that. All right. So you need to have a good pH. And so you can't be acidic. And typically if we're too acidic, that's where immune compromises like to hang out, and where bugs are more comfortable in those types. And it's ironic because that's where they live. But when we're talking about in the digestive process, we're talking about something different where we're not secreting enough acid to break our foods down. So don't get that confused. A lot of people get that confused. Don't overthink it either. Just think, okay, stomach, acid, I need to digest, and then too much acidity in other places is not good. Just think that. Don't overthink that. And then what happens is you have to make sure you support your acidity so that you're more alkaline. And too much alkaline isn't good either. Imagine, just like everything in life, it needs to be balanced with not too much of this, not too much of that. And that's how life is. We're all about balance and seeking a good frequency so that we're really healthy. So anyway, 6.4 to 7.0. So obviously, we're going to get less acid food in coffee, in stimulants, in proteins, in red meats. We'll talk about that in a second because that's one of my agendas. But so good quality live food. Food, when we say live, has a frequency to it. It's a living thing. It has a certain frequency, and we're trying to be healthy, and we want good quality nutrients that are going to be light forming. I know that's really weird, but think about light forming as your vibration and your energy is matching with something that has a similar frequency, and it's providing nutrition, quality nutrition. Very, very important. That's the summary of a food diet. Just that. And then write a whole story of all of the consequences of that. That's the secret recipe. Anyways, stabilizing your glucose levels. Very, very important. That's a hard one to do because do I eat 2 meals once, in the morning, at night? Do I eat 1 meal and I intermittent fast? Do I do a paleo and it is, it's a lot of protein and a little bit of carbs? Or do I do a keto and call it a keto when really it's a paleo, too much protein, not enough fats, and probably restricted carbs? What do I do anyways? Whether I call it this, that, or the other, what do I do? We already talked about most of the hard work already, quality foods. Now we're talking about things that help or not help stabilizing your glucose. There's a lot of variables to that. It's not just the foods you eat. What's the state of your gut? Are you breaking things down? Are you inflamed? Is there an immune response? Is the secretory IgA depleted? Everything we've talked about so far. And I'll answer those soon, Paula. Good to see you, and hi, Robin. But I only have 5 more minutes. And so anyways, the glucose has to be stable, and there's a lot of variables, and not all of which is from food. It's from other stuff too, so don't scratch your head and think, oh my goodness, I don't know if it's because I'm eating too much food too often. There's a lot more things that go on behind the scenes that help stabilize your glucose. Then the other thing is too much protein. This is the last concept I want to get. I got 5 more minutes. Too much protein. Americans eat too much proteins. Hi, Robin. So what that means is that we eat too much protein, and it's hard to process. We're a protein-loving nation, and we eat way too much of it. And guess how much of it quality it is? I got a confession to make. There was I won't say the name of the restaurant in my mall, where I am, and it's a Brazilian restaurant, and they cut things up for you, and I was eating there, and I was eating there a couple more days than I'd like to, and I was thinking to myself, what quality food can this be? I'm not going to say their name, and I'm thinking, this cannot be good quality food, because I was already feeling it, and I was like, ugh, haven't been back there since. And it was just, number one, too much protein and bad quality protein. Lots of things can go wrong with bad quality protein. A lot of things. And I won't even get into that with you, but a lot of things. The thing is that we want to be somewhere in a formula, which I tell patients, it's, if you think you're 150 pounds, it's your weight in kilograms. Divide that by 2.2, you're going to weigh 68 kilograms. Times that by 0.8, I'm sorry if you can't see that, times that by 0.8, and that's going to be 54. And if you're 150 pounds, you're 68 kilograms, times that by 1.2, that's 82. 54 to 82. Do your homework. I'm not going to tell you how much it is. You have to figure it out. You have to go and find out how much that is and how much you're eating, and you'll be shocked. The other thing is that protein, if you go too much, you're putting too much wear and tear on your digestive juices. You're helping your immunity because that secretory IgA and other immunoglobulins are made by the proteins. So it's going to help raise your energy level. But you also have to use minerals to break it down. Imagine the irony. You are taking more protein to get more minerals so that you have more energy, but you need more minerals to break down the excessive protein that you were trying to take to give you more energy, and you're depleting yourself as a result. So you're eating protein to help, get your diet better, and you're depleting your minerals. And they're already depleted, really depleted. You haven't been absorbing them. So how the heck do you have them if you're not even getting them with the food that you're getting too much protein, which is causing a glucose reaction? You're exceeding your threshold, and all of a sudden now it's insulin resistance, and you're wondering, I'm not eating any carbs. And then you got to limit your carbs. So those were the big things that I wanted to talk about, guys. I'm sorry to rush and end abruptly. I hope that was really, really helpful for you. I had a lot of problems today with keeping this stable. If there's any suggestions you have on how to do that, that would be great. But I'm going to try to answer a couple questions here, and then we'll go from there. So, took my kid out. The prescription to my 2-month-old. Second worst decision. I don't know what it was. Oh, the protein pump inhibitor. Sorry to hear that, Jocelyn. Rhonda, I'm bad about that. You got to be better about it, Rhonda. No excuses. Gina, live off the grid and grow it myself. That's a really cool idea. I like that. There's probably a lot more to that. I'm not quite there, but definitely is a good idea. Hi Denise. Hi Robin. We are fussy with our oils. Yeah, you have to be fussy. Hi April, can accesses. I hope you have. We've ditched our microwave 10 years ago. Good girl, don't need that thing. Should be checking our saliva pH. Yes, saliva pH is, you should be checking them. And there's little things you can do to check that every morning. You're welcome for sharing, Renee. Should we be taking probiotics? Yes. Quick answer. Use a rubber band. It will cause friction so it won't slip. For what? That sounds kind of interesting out of left field. I don't know what that's for. That's kind of weird. But no, Gina, just so use a rubber band. It will cause friction so it won't slip. I don't know in context because it's not timed when you did that. But anyways, guys, I hope that was good. I hope you enjoyed that. It was kind of the last minute, and there's so much more that we can say. There's lights that are not, I have a lot of work to do to prepare this a little bit better for you guys. And, but I hope you enjoyed that. And, if you have any topics you want to talk about, or you're suffering with the problem and you want some help on this, we do consults and we troubleshoot, but you have to be serious. And I'll post a link to that so that you guys can check out what times we have available. But it takes a lot of work. And but that's only if you're really suffering. I hate the glare. Anyways, guys, hope that you found that helpful, and I look forward to answering some of your questions in the future. Thanks, Robin, and hope you're well down under there, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.